Welcome, John Report fans, to another upload to our YouTube channel. I'm David K, alongside the main eventer, John Canton.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. We're getting close to Elimination Chamber on Sunday, so let's talk about something else though.
Yeah, we're talking about somebody who's not a part of the Elimination Chamber as of right now, and that'll be Triple H. The Wrestling Observer that came out this week said that they're looking to possibly have him end his career going into WrestleMania, putting his career up against the streak against Undertaker. What do you think about that?
It's a little sudden, but on the other hand, if that's what he wants, if he feels like all the injuries he's had is adding up, and he's not going to be as good. I believe he's 41 years old right now, and we all know that he's second in command to Vince as far as creative goes, and he's learning the business side of the company, and I mean more of the creative side also, and he literally has an office in the Stanford head offices. So I mean, he's an office guy now. So I don't think he wants to go on tour and work all the house shows and work 3 4 days a week on the road and then go to the tapings and all that kind of stuff. That's a lot on your plate. So I mean, I remember reading Clay Matthews' show with the Green Bay Packers when he was at SmackDown last week. He said Triple H was the one that gave him all the instructions of what to do as the referee. It wasn't Vince, it was Triple H. So that should tell you something. It also probably tells you Vince has no idea who Clay Matthews is, because I don't think Vince watches anything other than WWE. But my point is Triple H is heavily involved in every aspect of the company. So to do all that stuff, plus to train and be ready to work in matches and stuff, like that's a lot of work. And I think we've seen from over the years of people that dip their hand in both baskets, so to speak, like. You're working on camera and you're working backstage. It's a lot of work. Like Ric Flair's been Booker, Dusty Rhodes. There's been a lot of guys like that, and it hasn't led to success a lot of time. So I think if he wants to, if he feels like he's ready to stop, then that's his call, and he can do what he wants. But my only thing is it's a little sudden because he's been off TV since like May. He would come back, I assume, on Monday at the same time as The Undertaker. Like, that'd be a nice surprise or something like that.
Right.
To end Raw. And then you'd have only like 5 or 6 weeks build. So, is that enough time to put your career on the line? I don't know. I almost think, like, you should wait a bit longer. But it does have more impact if it happens at WrestleMania. And it also puts over Undertaker huge if he retires the two DX guys in back-to-back years.
Well, do you
so
think...
a lot of people will say, well, why don't you do it? Have a young guy do it, like Sheamus, for example, when you put him over, and that's cool too. But I understand the WrestleMania streak.
Right. But do you think doing it the year after Shawn, I mean, do you think that takes away from the value of it or it enhances it? How does that play into this whole equation?
It all depends on what role he takes after, because the difference with him and Shawn is, I think everybody knows he's married to Stephanie. I mean, they admitted on TV, so everybody knows, even the non-wrestling fans. I mean, non-smart fans, and so it's one of those things where everyone knows he's involved with the company. So there's more likelihood of him saying, "Okay, I want to wrestle this guy" or whatever, or doing some kind of angle. Maybe Triple H is the GM, and then some angle lures him back in the ring. I think with Shawn, everybody sees that he's kept his distance. He's only been on TV once, when he returned for the Hall of Fame announcement since WrestleMania. Like that's pretty good. A lot of people probably thought he'd be back before that. So in Triple H's case, it's a little different. But Shawn's retirement does have more credibility because he's been out of the ring for a year. So in Triple H's case, I think it would work, but I don't know if it's the best decision either. So who knows? It's up to him.
My big problem with it would be that it leaves that whole Sheamus side of it open if you just do Undertaker. Yeah. I mean, I'm not too worried about Undertaker putting him out, but you can't leave, the Sheamus thing open to, the rest of the world like it never got any conclusion. Not that I'm specifically asking for one, because Lord knows I hate Sheamus more than anybody else in the world. But I think the big problem I have with it is you saw that attack that quote unquote him out. And, okay, so I'm going to come back and maybe say my piece 1 week and then fight The Undertaker and then that be it. I think that's my big problem with it.
Yeah, but, that's what a lot of people are saying to me, like on Facebook and Twitter. That's my message that I've been getting all day because after I made a post about it, because everyone's saying, what are they going to do with Sheamus? And I'm like, I guess they're going to end it in a week or two and then move on. Because right now Sheamus has been de-pushed big time. Even though he's in an Elimination Chamber match, how many matches has he won since he won King of the Ring? Less than 2 or 3, you know what I mean? Like he's barely won. He's put over Morrison a bunch of times, and the word came out today that the executive producer of WWE forever, Kevin Dunn, he's been there for like 30 years. He's another Vince's right hand man. He's not a big fan of Sheamus right now, so he's getting deep pushed because of that. So I don't think they're really high on Sheamus. So I mean, Triple H comes back, he'll beat him, and then he'll move on.
So Triple H comes back, loses, let's say at WrestleMania, because I don't think it makes any sense for him to go over the Undertaker.
Yeah, he won't go over.
But I mean, does the WWE still need him to get over that younger talent like Sheamus and John Morrison? I mean, do they need him as a veteran? Because he's gone in a lot of places, including like WWE Magazine and other main venues, talking about how when he came into the WWE, it was a bunch of veterans and maybe a couple new guys, and you got trained by everybody. Whereas now he considers just him and the Undertaker as the top dogs, the vets, and everyone else is after them. I mean, do you think the WWE could survive without him getting over the younger talent?
It's hard. He's definitely right. How many guys on the roster can you trace back to like the mid '90s, 15 years? There's Goldust, who's not really a top guy, and there's Jericho. If he comes back, if he wants to be a babyface, he could probably put over a lot of these younger guys too. But other than that, Undertaker's a part-timer.
Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio too, and I mean they use Mysterio to put over WWE pretty strong too, right? So
right,
that's another guy. But Ray's also the underdog, you know what I mean? So it's kind of Ray's always the underdog, so it's kind of a bit different. With Triple H, he's more of a favorite perennially, right? So it's one of those things where on the one hand, yeah, I need him. On the other hand, you know, it is time for other people to shine. But my thing is too, if he wants to stop, then he wants to stop. If he knows his body's failing him, if he thinks his performances are going to go down. Like, he was supposed to come back, I believe, December or January, and he hasn't come back yet. So, you know, that's probably his decision. Or I don't think it's Vince's decision. I think it was more him. It's a case of him saying, I'm not ready. You know, maybe physically he doesn't feel like it.
Do you think it's a physical thing, or is it more of a family thing? Him saying, you know, I've got daughters coming up that I've got to worry about.
Yeah.
You know, and should I worry about them, or should I sit here and try and do this in-ring thing? Because I don't think he's going to collect another paycheck, or does he get a performer paycheck for being in the ring?
Well, I don't think the money really matters.
But you know what I'm saying?
He's probably got enough shares. He's probably got like $50 million in shares.
So what is he doing by going on the road and doing house shows?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
don't think he wants to do it or need it. It's funny because if it was 2 years ago, I would have said he would have had 16 title reigns to beat Ric Flair. You know what I mean? Just to say that you're the best ever kind of thing. But it's not going to happen now. And kudos to him for putting his ego aside. A lot of people think he's an egomaniac and he doesn't get back. But, I mean, look what his career is going to be going forward. He's going to be looking after the company. Like, that's a big responsibility, unselfishness, all that kind of stuff. So he's taken a lot of heat over the last decade of his main event run as a top guy. But I respect him more than I criticize him, that's for sure. And I will make jokes about him. But, you know, that's his position. So I'm sure he's used to it.
Oh, yeah. But do you think, guys, when Kevin Nash came back, for example, do you think, and personally, I think Kevin Nash's whole demeanor right now is kind of the end of the world. Like, he's just kind of bowing out. He's kind of saying his piece, saying, you know, I'm done, but, you know, kind of doing it in a respectful way, you know, trying to thank everybody on the way and everything. Do you think him coming back and doing something like that, inducting Shawn into the Hall of Fame, kind of putting the cap on the end of his career, you know, doing that to those guys is pushing him towards?
You mean... You're saying, is Nash pushing him towards this? Or
I'm saying watching all of his friends, like Shawn, cap his career, Nash winding it down, looking forward to capping it.
Yeah.
Is that playing a part in this?
I think so, but, I mean, he's also, like, 10 years younger than Nash and, like, 5 years younger than Michaels. Like, he's 41. It's not that old in wrestling, but like we said, he's been a main eventer since 1999. So, you know, that's a lot of matches, and he worked a lot of house shows. Like, he did have 2 major injuries with his knees, but still, that's 12 years he's had a lot of time on the road. You know what I mean? So, he's paid his dues. There's no question about that. And I don't think he's an injury-prone wrestler necessarily, but, you know, at one point, your body's going to be sore. Like, he had an arm surgery, and then he's had knee surgeries. Like, these are major things. And I think in Nash's case, he's getting more money to get paid by WWE and get a Legends contract. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. He's going to hang out with his buddies at the Hall of Fame, you know? Like, that's more important than working for TNA for no money.
Right.
So I think he wants to hang around Hunter, and maybe they'll use Nash in the creative end, too. He's He's got history doing that if he wants to do that. So he's
And
got friends in the right places.
that's true. Do you think Triple H is out of creative ideas as well? I mean, because the reason I say that is, I mean, I'm in the middle of reading the Jericho book. I know you are. I mean, it's been a fantastic read. But he talks about reinventing himself his second run through. Do you think, I mean, Triple H just doesn't have any room to work with that? If he were to come back, it's going to be the same character that we've seen the past 12 years. Do you think the fact that he really can reinvent his character and give a new run to it, is that playing into it as well?
Yeah, he can't do much anymore. He did the heel thing, and then he did the baby face thing. His character didn't really change much. It's just, he's fighting the bad guys, and then he's fighting the good guys. And I think he would only be a veteran babyface now. Like, I like his heel work more, but look at the roster. It's loaded with heels. Who are you going to turn, right? So the issue, though, is, like we were saying, like, you need guys to put over the young heels, but you don't see Cena ever losing, and you don't see Orton ever really losing. Edge is probably going to be putting W over, but there's not much else as far as older baby faces putting over guys that they need. So it is an issue, but I mean, like we said, if he wants to retire, then he should retire. And his value to the company, I mean, he's going to be around for the next 20 years booking it, probably. So, whether Vince is still around and the main guy, that's one thing, but Triple H has a huge influence.
Okay, so he retires. We see him booking for the next 20 years. Are we looking at an upswing in popularity here? Are we looking at stuff that we're going to like, or do you think it's a move for the worse? I mean, do you see this PG era just getting much, much worse with him in charge?
It's hard to say because we don't know his booking style, right? Like, what has his influence been right now?
Well,
is he booking more wrestling matches, or is Vince still, saying, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this? So we don't really know yet because Vince is still there. So
yeah, I'm just assuming that the past. Since, I mean, the beginning of the year that Triple H has been taken over, just at least what I've been seeing and reading as far
There's been good matches on Raw.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you think that's part of his influence on it?
Definitely. I think he would probably be more wrestling heavy than Vince. Vince is more promo heavy, I think. But, it's a mix, obviously. So Vince has his different spurts, you know what I mean? Like, you think of the year 2000, all the great wrestling matches, and then, some years they'll push the in-ring stuff less, and they'll push the characters more. So you never know. Vince is a bizarre old man, I think.
Crazy Vince, as usual. And
but I think Triple H is more on the pulse of what's current, so that's good.
Oh yeah, he's half his age, right? But
Well,
I'm just being facetious there, but
yeah.
So last thing, let's say Triple H is the GM. Are you at all worried about who the GM is anymore, or has that whole thing run its course? Do you think it'd be better to just leave it anonymous? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look how much heat Cole gets just for saying anti-Cole. Like, that's pretty impressive. It's gonna be hard for a human to top that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Like, Triple H has GM would work, but is he a heel GM or is he a babyface, or is he gonna take the spotlight away from guys, or is he just gonna show up once in a while? So I don't know. Like, if he retires, then it would have to be probably a couple months after that, and then from there, it could work. It could not. I don't really care if it's anonymous or not going forward.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't like that Michael Cole is pushed more than in-ring guys, though. That's my thing that bugs me.
Well, that's a discussion for a whole nother day.
Because you're not selling tickets with the announcer. The wrestlers are the ones that sell tickets.
Well,
so, that's wrestling.
That's all the time we got for this one. That one went by quick, especially for one topic. But got to give our plugs out. Make sure you're visiting www.thejohnreport.net for all of your reviews and wrestling needs. Lord knows we've got it all. Make sure you follow us on Twitter over at John Report and at Dave the Awesome. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/thejohnreportnet. And I do want to give a shout out to Pat Lamort for giving us the intro graphic. Make sure to give him a shout out. Any last words, John?
Ready to go, Pat?